Welcome to Chapter 2 of Russia's Eschatological Revival. Today, we're going to look into the influence of eschatological, political, and nationalism ideas on the aggressive nature of modern-day Russia. The emergence of eschatological ideas. The emergence of eschatological ideas in Russia during the 19th century was closely tied to the country's political and religious landscape. Amidst political activism and the renaissance of the Russian Orthodox Church, eschatological beliefs gained prominence among certain segments of society, particularly Orthodox fundamentalists and monarchists. 1. The influence of Orthodox Christianity. Orthodox Christianity has been a significant influence on Russian culture and society for centuries. The Russian Orthodox Church, as the dominant religious institution, played a crucial role in shaping the spiritual and moral values of the Russian people. During the 19th century, there was a renewed interest in Orthodox traditions and teachings, leading to a revival of religious fervor. Eschatological beliefs, rooted in the teachings of the Orthodox Church, gained traction among those who interpreted the scriptures and prophecies in a way that foretold the imminent arrival of the end times. These eschatological interpretations were not unique to Russia. Similar beliefs existed in other Christian traditions as well. However, in the Russian context, these beliefs were particularly potent, as they intersected with the country's political and historical experiences. 2. The concept of the end of time. Eschatology is concerned with the study of the final events in history, often associated with the end of the world or the apocalypse. In Christianity, eschatological beliefs are based on biblical texts, especially the Book of Revelation, which describes the events leading to the end times and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. For many Orthodox believers in Russia, the idea of the end of time took on profound significance. It was seen as a pivotal moment when divine judgment would be dispensed, and the righteous would be rewarded, while the wicked would face punishment. This belief in a divine reckoning resonated with those who sought justice and redemption for the suffering endured by Russia throughout its history. 3. The imminence of the Antichrist. A prominent aspect of Russian eschatological beliefs was the notion of the imminent arrival of the Antichrist. The Antichrist, as described in biblical prophecy, is a figure of great evil who would oppose Christ and lead humanity astray before the final judgment. In the eschatological revival of the 19th century, there was a prevailing belief that the Antichrist's arrival was imminent, and that he would seek to destroy Russia, which was perceived as a bastion of Orthodox Christianity. This belief in the imminent threat of the Antichrist contributed to a sense of urgency and vulnerability among some segments of Russian society. It fostered a perception that the nation faced external enemies and internal subversion, with the Antichrist's influence lurking behind the scenes. These fears were fueled by a sense of Russia's unique and sacred mission, which made it a target of evil forces seeking to undermine its role as a defender of Orthodox faith. 4. National patriotic newspapers and prophecies. The dissemination of eschatological beliefs was facilitated by national patriotic newspapers, which played a crucial role in promoting and popularizing these ideas. These newspapers catered to a readership that was deeply patriotic and eager to defend Russian identity and values. They often presented Russia as a chosen nation with a divine mission, standing against the corrupting influences of Western powers and the Antichrist. Orthodox prophecies about the end times were a common feature in these newspapers, contributing to a sense of foreboding among their readers. These prophecies were often framed in a way that connected the perceived enemies of Russia with the forces of evil described in eschatological texts. Thus, political adversaries, foreign powers, and internal dissenters were portrayed as agents of the Antichrist, intent on undermining Russia's religious and national heritage. 5. The interplay of religion and politics. The eschatological revival had a significant impact on the political climate of the time. It intersected with existing nationalist sentiments, reinforcing the notion that Russia had a sacred duty to defend its people and traditions against external threats. This fusion of religion and politics contributed to the shaping of a specific worldview among some segments of Russian society. Furthermore, eschatological beliefs influenced political discussions and debates about the direction in which Russia should move. The concept of the end of time heightened the stakes for the nation's future and contributed to a sense of urgency in addressing political and social issues. It also fostered a desire for strong leadership that could protect the nation from the perceived dangers posed by the Antichrist and his agents. The aggressive nature of modern-day Russia. The contemporary landscape of Russia is characterized by an assertive and aggressive foreign policy approach that has garnered international attention and concern. Understanding the factors contributing to this aggressive nature requires examining both historical experiences and the interplay of nationalism and eschatology in shaping Russia's current geopolitical behavior. 1. Historical experiences of invasions and external threats. Russia's history is marked by a series of invasions and external threats that have left a lasting impact on the nation's psyche. From the Mongol invasions of the 13th century to the Napoleonic invasion in the early 19th century and the Nazi invasion during World War II, Russia has faced repeated challenges to its sovereignty and territorial integrity. These historical experiences have contributed to a deeply ingrained sense of vulnerability and the need for strong leadership to protect the nation from perceived external threats. The desire for a powerful leader who can defend Russia's interests and assert its influence on the global stage is deeply rooted in the collective memory of the Russian people. Moreover, the territorial expansion during the imperial era and the incorporation of diverse ethnic groups into the Russian Empire also shaped the country's sense of identity. The quest for territorial dominance and the assimilation of various cultures contributed to a perception of Russia as a vast and diverse nation with a unique destiny in world affairs. 2. Nationalism and the quest for great power status. Nationalism continues to play a significant role in shaping Russia's foreign policy and its aspirations for global influence. The narrative of Russian exceptionalism, developed during the 19th century, persists in contemporary discussions about the nation's role in the world. Many Russians see their country as a distinct and powerful civilization, with a historical mission to defend traditional values and protect the interests of its people. The idea of restoring Russia's status as a great power, comparable to its Soviet and imperial predecessors, has been central to the country's post-Cold War foreign policy. The collapse of the Soviet Union was a deeply traumatic event for many Russians, leading to a sense of loss and a desire to reclaim Russia's influence and prestige on the international stage. Vladimir Putin, who has been the dominant political figure in Russia since the late 1990s, capitalized on this sense of national pride and nostalgia. He portrayed himself as a strong and decisive leader, committed to defending Russian interests and restoring the country's great power status. Under Putin's leadership, Russia has pursued a more assertive foreign policy, seeking to assert its influence in its traditional sphere of influence and beyond. 3. Geopolitical factors and security concerns. Geopolitical factors also contribute to Russia's aggressive nature in the modern era. Russia's geographic location places it at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, with extensive land borders and access to crucial sea routes. This strategic position has made Russia acutely aware of its security concerns and has influenced its foreign policy decisions. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 and Russia's involvement in the conflict in eastern Ukraine, for example, can be seen as driven by security considerations. The Black Sea region is of vital importance to Russia's naval and geopolitical interests, and the fear of NATO expansion and encroachment on Russia's borders has fueled a defensive posture. Similarly, Russia's military intervention in Syria was driven by a desire to protect its long-standing ally, the Syrian government, and maintain a foothold in the Middle East. These actions reflect Russia's determination to assert its influence in regions it deems strategically significant. 4. Eschatological influences and perceptions of threat. The interplay between eschatology and nationalism can also contribute to Russia's aggressive nature in the contemporary era. Eschatological beliefs foster a sense of urgency and vulnerability, as some Russians may perceive themselves as facing imminent threats, both externally and internally. The belief in the end of time and the emergence of the Antichrist can lead to a heightened perception of danger from perceived enemies, reinforcing a defensive mindset. This perceived vulnerability may drive Russia to adopt assertive actions against perceived adversaries to protect its interests and preserve its national identity. The glorification of strong leadership, which emerged from historical yearning for protection, can also contribute to a more assertive foreign policy stance. Leaders may feel compelled to defend Russia's interests aggressively, projecting strength and determination on the global stage to safeguard the nation from potential threats. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss Chapter 3. Show some love by hitting that like button. Your support means the world to me and helps our video reach more people. And don't forget to share this video with your friends, family, and anyone else who might enjoy it.